Hi guys, Samantha from Jessama Tutorials here, and today I'm going to be showing you how to create Jellyroll Mokume Gane. Now this is essentially Mokume Gane, except that instead of layering sheets on top of each other by cutting them and rolling them through the pasta machine, we're just going to be using a jelly roll. So the multiple rolls in the jelly roll, when flattened, will create the layers. But it gives it a bit of a different effect. Now I've got a Skinner blend, and this was turquoise primer and ecru primer, and they were used in a Skinner blend together. Now if you don't know how to do a Skinner blend, I'll provide a link to it in the links below, so be sure to check that out. And then I've also got a sheet of black, and this was run through on my second thinnest setting. This was on my thickest setting. This is on my second thinnest setting. And the reason I want the black to be so thin is, first of all, it's quite a strong colour, so I don't want it to make the entire Mokume Gane look grey, because I find that if there's too much black in something, it can make things look dark. And also because I want it to just be an accent. So I'll just lay that over the top of the clay, and then smooth out any air bubbles, because we don't want that. Just like that. Okay, then we'll pick it up like that, and then you'll take your blade and you'll just trim off the excess. There we go. Because we don't want this hanging around while we're working. Okay. There we go. Now, I'm going to thin this out just a bit on the pasta machine, and so I'm going to go from my thickest setting down to my fifth setting. So my thickest setting is a number 7, I'm going down to a number 5. And I'm going to be lengthening the Skinner blend. See? Just like that. And now I'm going to roll it up, and I want the ecru to be in the middle. Wait, no, actually, I want the glue to be in the middle. It doesn't really matter, it just means that the one in the middle is going to more often than not be the dominant colour. And then you'll just roll it up. And now you could also try this using 2 colours, or you could even try it using 2 Skinner blends instead of one solid colour and a Skinner blend. But I find that using a Skinner blend and a solid colour gives the effect that I like. So once you're rolled up, sorry, I'm wearing a coat because it's freezing over here, but it's getting in the way. So you'll just squish it down to put in those ends that you that we're jutting out. Now I've got a jelly roll video where I explain more about a jelly roll and how you make it. I'm going very quickly right now because I've already done a video. I'll include it in the links below if you want to check it out. Now I'm going to just roll this slightly, and that will condense the clay together, and it will also get out any air bubbles. So when you're rolling, you want to start from the middle and roll outward, and that will push air bubble out. Okay, and then I'm just going to condense it back down again. And now I'm going to chop this in half because I want to use one half with a stamp and the other half with cutters. Like that. So as you can see, I've already got an interesting pattern like this. So you could stop over here and just use this as a cane, but we're going to take it further. And so you want to start pinching the jelly roll so that you go from a round shape to an oval shape. And I like to pinch it first because I have more control over it, and then once I've got it to a certain stage where I can just lay it on my tile and it's not rolling around, I'll take my acrylic rod and let that tool do the rest of the work for me. So we're going to start with the cutters, but you want to reduce this down first. Now you can use any cutters you want. This is basically Mokume Gane, so you can do whatever you want with it, but I'm going to play around with some cutters and a texture sheet today, but it doesn't mean that you are limited to that. Okay, so I flattened it out. Now I'm going to take it over to my pasta machine and roll it through on my thickest setting, just to even it out. There we go. So now I'm going to go get the cutters, and I'm using round ones today, and they're graduated, so I've got a whole bunch of rounds from large to small. Now I got these off of Fire Mountain Gems, if you were wondering. They also have available some other shapes. They have some squares, and they also have some triangles. But I'm going to be using the rounds today. So you're going to start from the largest circle, and you're just going to go randomly impress the largest one into your sheet. Like that. And it doesn't matter if it overlaps, that's fine. This is Mokume Gane, we want it random. Of course, with the texture sheet, we're going to be going with a less than random effect. Then you'll go down to your next cutter, and you'll go and stamp inside of your large circles. And that's just what I'm doing. You don't have to do that. You could just go all over the place if you wanted to. But I'm just roughly stamping them inside the circle. And you don't have to, I'm not going to stay inside these circles. Don't have to do that. I can stamp some other ones around here in the empty spaces to fill it up a bit, because we don't really want empty spaces. Well, you can have empty spaces, depends on what you want. So I'm going to carry on doing that, and I'll be back when I'm done. Okay, so I've put in all the circles I want. Now you could start slicing right now, but the problem is, because we were using cutters, all of these pieces are individual, and so as you slice you could end up with it basically falling apart. So what I like to do is start squishing it together using my blade, because it's not really wide enough for me to use my fingers yet. So you take your blade and start pushing around the edges. Now don't push too hard, you don't want this coming off the tile while you're doing this. You just want to push it enough that the clay gives way. And you'll just go around the piece doing that until it's at a fairly good thickness for you to start using your fingers on it. So you can see that the outside is moving, but the inside isn't moving. We'll fix that in just a second. So if your clay is warm, which mine's pretty warm. It's during winter, so it's not as warm as it could be, but it's still pretty warm. It will move very fast. Okay, and then once it's at an okay thickness, you can just push down these edges just a little bit, so that you have an equalized sheet, or a somewhat equalized sheet, and then you can start working on it. And you want to be careful in the start during the beginning, but you basically want to turn it around, squish, turn it around, squish. And the outside edges will always move faster than the inside, so just squish them back down to size and carry on. And this can take a little bit of patience, but it doesn't actually take that long. Okay, so we've reduced it right down, and now you could start slicing it like this, of course, but I like to take it down again just a bit. And the reason we condensed it together so much was really just to put all those pieces together and get them to stick to each other properly. It wasn't so much to actually get it thicker for us to slice, it was just to make it all one piece of clay again, which is important when you're taking slices out of it. You don't want it falling all over the place. Okay, so I'll just roll it down. You can see it goes down very quickly. And now I'm going to pat it down onto the work surface so that it sticks. And then I'll take my blade and I'm going to use my flexible one, and I'm going to hold it in the middle and I'm going to start taking slices. Just like that. And so because of the jelly roll, the blue will be because the blue is in the middle, the blue will be the dominant color, but because of the jelly roll you'll always get the yellow around the edges. And depending on how deep you slice, I'll show you in the next one, so if you slice really thin you'll get some yellow. Very little, but you will get some yellow, so I'm slicing very shallow there. So there, see, you get some yellow there. But depending on how deep you slice in the middle of the clay, you'll usually just get the clay that's in the middle. So that's basically it for the cutters. And I'm going to show you the one with the texture sheet in just a second. It's a little bit of a different process. So I thought I'd show you that one. Now, just move this aside. And I would carry on taking slices out of this and I'd use them in different projects. Now we'll bring over the other piece that we have over here and we'll start squishing that one as well. Just like we did with the other one, but this time we don't need to do any, because we're not going to be putting cutters to it, we don't need to do that whole condensing part. So we'll just roll this out. Now bring it over to my pasta machine now, and I'll pop it through my thickest setting, like that. Okay, then I'm going to stick that down. Oh wait, no, actually, we'll bring over the stamp first, and I've decided I'm going to use Skull Piece Pebble stamp, and then we'll bring over our spray bottle and spray the surface, and then pop our sheet down and spray the surface of our sheet to prevent sticking. And then you'll work from one end of the clay to the other to push out any excess water or air bubbles. Now you can use any stamp you want, of course. I've just chosen this one. Very quick. And now a lot of artists like Lisa Babelka, who have been doing polymer clay for years on end, they'll just pop their sheet onto a texture stamp that's been sprayed with water, and then they'll just do one roll and they'll get an absolutely perfect piece. Now I haven't been doing polymer clay that long, so I like to just press my clay into the stamp before I use the roller, and then after I've pressed it in, I do a quick roll with my roller, because I find that the roller can sometimes cause the clay to lift up, and so you really do have a one chance roll. So you'll just work that out to the stamp carefully, because sometimes your clay does stick, just like that. and then you need to dry the tile and both surfaces of the clay. Okay, so now that it's all dry, we'll take our tissue blade, and I'm again using my flexible one as it is my preferred tissue blade, and I'll hold it in the middle and keep my hands resting on my work surface as I slice. And you'll come out looking something like this. Though it's going to look completely different depending on which texture stamp you use. Because of the jelly roll, depending on where you slice, you're going to get a different look, which is what's so fun about it. Oops. Got to be careful not to go too deep. I went a little deep there. But the texture penetrated through the entire sheet, so I still got the pebble pattern. Okay. Okay, so we're almost done. And I'd spend a little bit of time doing this because I don't really want this black. So I'd go over and clean it up so that I don't have that black all over the place. There must have been an air bubble there. Okay, so that's basically what you're going to get out of it. Depending on the texture that you use, it's going to look a little different, but this should be about what you should get. Now, all of these bits that you shave off, just bundle them all together and save them, as we will use them in another project, one of my leftover technique projects. And just make sure to clean up any pieces that might be stuck on your stamp. Okay. And then we'll just shimmy that up. And there was a little air bubble there where I didn't pat it onto the sheet properly, and that's what happened. Now, I'm just going to press it together like that, so that it's not open anymore. So you need to be careful about air bubbles under the sheet while you're busy shaving it, but you can always just fix it like that. And so I'll just bring this up for you to see what it looks like. It's quite cool. It's kind of a bit like the Hidden Magic Mokume Gane technique, but not quite, because the Hidden Magic technique doesn't really use jelly rolls as far as I'm concerned. But it looks very similar. I really like it. So I'll put that to the side and show you the other one up close quickly. So it's a different effect, and you can slice down as far as you want with this one because you were using cutters. It's penetrated through the entire sheet. And so here's another example that I tried out the other day. And this was again the pebble pattern, but this was using a different skinner blend. And I show the skinner blend in my 3-pot skinner blend video, and I'll include the link to that in the links below if you're interested. And now I'll just bring over another example. And here it is. This was my original one. And if any of you have watched my videos before I updated them, you'll have seen the tutorial to this one. And it's basically the same as the tutorial I did today. But instead of making the blue the middle colour, I did the ecru as the middle colour. And the black sheet was a bit thicker. So if I bring over our one that we did today, you can see that the black's not quite as obvious. But it's basically the same look. So, I do hope that that video was helpful to you, and if it was, please do check the links below the video as there'll be links to more tutorials like this one. And if you're on YouTube, please do check out my website jessamatutorials.com. I'll have a link to it in the links below. And if you're watching this video on my website, check below the video as there'll be a form down there for you to send in your pictures of this technique if you try it out and you wish to send in any pictures. And I look forward to seeing them, as I love seeing all the pictures of the techniques that I show. So please do have a look at that. And as always, I hope to see you in the next video. Bye for now.